right, hey, welcome back to Liverpool Community Podcast. As you know, it's been a while for us, and myself. I've been away for a bit, but I'm back, and I'm back with a new guest and a guest that is very interesting to me because usually this show we talk one-on-one to business owners, creatives, people who are, like doing for others and actually out there in the world and everything. But this is a guest that actually is from my world, the creative zone, and I'm excited to talk to this gentleman. So first, let me introduce him. I'm joined here by Rusty Apper. How you doing, Rusty?
I'm fine. Thanks for having me. It's lovely to be here.
Well, hey, man, Rusty said he was a fan, so that was one reason why he's
Massive
here.
fan. Massive.
He's massive. But either way you look at it, but, it's that thing about, sometimes there are people that you don't know, but they know people you know, and basically kind of like follow along your journey. I thought what was really interesting is that Rusty is wearing multiple hats, but one, you're a musician, and the other, you're a filmmaker.
Right.
And everything. So as a filmmaker, I found one of your stories interesting because I think it's so hard to make a film.
You're a filmmaker, aren't you? Of course.
Yeah. I think it's so hard to make a film and to complete a film and then to distribute a film. Yeah. And I think I read one of your stories about one of your latest film projects. I say latest film projects because, well, it's a completed film called Artifacts of Fear.
Indeed.
And you actually got it played in America.
Yeah, I got lucky.
Well, we're going to hear about that luck there. But, so I said, oh, wait a minute. I want to talk to this guy because not only did he make a film, because what you wrote and directed this film.
Yeah.
Not only because you made a film, but then you were involved with the music. Mm-hmm. And then you were involved with music in other films as well.
Indeed.
And so being involved in the music as a musician, you're also a musician.
Absolutely.
So this is a man of multi-talents, So I think you have a lot to say there. We have a lot to cover there, Rusty. So, I mean, first of all, as a musician, well, singing musician, obviously you started very young.
Yeah.
And everything else like that. But I thought it was interesting is that you went through what most musicians go through is you have more than one band. And then, So right now you're at that point where you're trying to figure out the name of the band. At first it was Rusty Apper's band, but then now...
Rusty Apper's long pause.
Yeah. But you're now settling on the name of what?
It's going to be Lone Star Rivals.
The Lone Star Rivals.
Yeah.
I think that's a great name.
Well, I'm glad you like it. I wanted something that wasn't too clever. I just thought, what sounds like it could be out of the 70s that sounds like, hey, you're going to go and check out the Rivals. I don't know.
Yeah,
try and think about these things.
Yeah, the Rivals, the Lone Stars. Yeah,
that's
all good.
Whatever. I try not to be too clever. You know what I mean? It's fun.
It's always good because I think that's the thing that a lot of bands think they're too clever. Like I'm Acne's Toe.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yes.
I hate those crazy names.
Yes.
Lone Star Rivals, pretty cool.
Yes.
But as far as music styles, I was asking you was like you kind of like dabbling between rock, blues.
Yeah. I mean, blues, rock was always my first love. Rock was like what really drew me in when I was like listening to like mum's vinyls and things like that. But blues was something that came to me when I was a little bit older. A friend of mine introduced me to it, and I was like, wow. It was like, I realized everything that come from rock and roll came from the blues and things like that.
Elvis would tell you that.
Of course he would. And then I found out there was even more influential people long before Elvis, but we won't go into that.
Well, of course it was.
Yeah, because when you learn about the whole beg, borrow, and steal story of blues, you're like, it's a bit of an eye-opener. Just like how the British nicked it from the Americans, and then the Americans were like, wow, you seen what the British are doing? And it's like, well, hang on a minute. So, if you say blues, it's a bit like metal. It's very open-ended.
Yeah.
But blues fans know what
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what's really drew me in. And it's the ultimate. It's simple, but it can sound so amazing, so effective. Just with those simple chords and.
Well, I mean, you're one of those guys that have like not just one, but a couple of albums that you've been putting
Sure.
together. And
Yeah.
actually, this summer, I believe you had just finished the album called Devil's Work.
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you want to tell us anything about that or anything special about?
It's special because it's out now on all streaming platforms. No, I'm kidding. Well, I'm not kidding.
Don't kid. It is out on all streaming platforms.
No, you know, I hadn't done anything in about 6-7 years because I released an album in 2016, I think it was. And I had 2 out before that, back in 2011, 2012. And I'd sort of toured around a bit. I wound up doing some drumming jobs where I was with a band on the road for a long time as a drummer. And then I thought, well, I think it's time to get back to some writing my own stuff. And then the lockdown hit, and I really didn't want to do like a lockdown album. I just thought the whole thing was just so cringy. So
Why? Because everybody's doing a lockdown
well, exactly. So there were no songs related to the lockdown, really.
Yeah.
So, and by the time I got it finished, nobody even really cared. So it wasn't like, oh, look, there's a lockdown album. It was just like, oh, look, someone else has got an album out.
Yeah, but at least it had like about 8 tracks on it, though,
Yes,
right? I mean,
yeah.
where a lot of artists, you know, they're just coming out with like those 4-track EPs and stuff like that.
It's all micro content. That's what it's all about.
I love
now.
that word.
Yeah. I mean, don't get wrong. The method is tried and it works, and the whole thing with people's attention span, thanks to TikTok and things like that. Absolutely, I totally get it. And I must say, from completely changing my mindset to what I thought I knew about how to release music just 10 years ago versus now, when I relaxed a little bit and said, okay, you know what, I can release one song at a time. Okay, I can just release an album with 6 or 7 or 8 tracks. Once I kind of got over myself with like what I thought I used to know,
Yeah.
I was like, just embrace these new things. Actually, it turned out the song that I released as a single wound up being sort of by numbers the most successful song I'd ever done.
Which one was that?
Switchblade Superstar, it was called. It was like a single.
Switchblade Superstar. I kind of like that. It's kind of
Again,
like Switchblade Romance.
Well, very good. I love that film. Big fan
Whoa!
of the movie. Big fan
Look
of
at
the
that.
movie.
Look at that.
Point
Well, of
tension.
course, you are a horror guy.
Yeah, I am. I'm totally a horror guy. I'm totally a horror guy. But again, it's a dumb title, but you go, oh, what does that mean? You know what I mean? It's not too
I don't
clever.
know. It has something to do with a trucker and the head of the...
You got it. You got it. You know, I did relax, and I did have to just look at the whole industry and go, okay, things are very different. Don't worry about it. Stop trying to force out a full album, and stop trying to be like, well, people will just have to accept what I'm used to or whatever. And through just making a few little changes and not being too precious, it algorithm wise, it worked. You know, so you just have to keep evolving all the time, you know?
Well, speaking about evolving, I mean, like, this kind of like moves us to the second half of your personality, kind of like your last battlefield, for those who watch Star Trek. But
Very nice. Very nice.
Well,
I like that. You know what, the bass player,
yeah.
there's a band I'm in down south that we were together since we were like college kids, and they're like my best friends, a band called Gecko, and the bass player is an absolute Star Trek nut.
Oh, really?
He would be,
really?
yeah.
Oh, well, hey, well,
He would appreciate that. If he was here, he would appreciate it.
Oh, well, nice one.
One day, we'll bring it back.
So basically, being a musician, like I said at the beginning, you got involved in scores where you just started to let people know, hey, look, man, I mean, I'm available. You know, if you're looking for any, instrumentals or stuff like that for your film, and everything. So I'm just kind of curious, because how do people get started into that world? And so, like, basically, was it like through people you knew or whatever, and then it's like, okay, now that you're in there, what was it like making instrumentals for? I believe horror films, right?
Yeah, I mean, horror has always been like a comfort zone, for me, because I just love it. I've always been into that gothic stuff. But I started out desperately wanting to be an actor, was my first thing.
Yeah.
And I played drums when I was a kid, so that was kind of like the musician side. But then when I went to college, I was like, well, maybe we could make some films just to act. We'll just borrow the camera or get a camera or something.
That's how most people start.
Yeah, we'll just put it together. So I was never interested in being a filmmaker. I mean, I loved films, but I was always like, those are the guys that make films. I'm just the guy that stands in front of the camera and tries to look somewhat decent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, so we started making them, And I thought, well, there's no reason why I can't tinker around with a piano or something and try and make some tunes. So I do play piano a little bit, but I'm not that great. But I was able to knock some sounds together and use other things to manipulate digital sounds and sound effects and stuff like that. And then other people were like, oh, you know, who did the music for your movie? I was like, oh, well, I just threw it together myself. And they were like, oh, would you do it for hours? And then I thought, oh, maybe I could get into this, you know. And honestly, it's amazing. I love it so much. From starting off doing synthy stuff through to writing full orchestral things. It's been a lot of fun. And the sound design wise side of it as well, which sometimes sound design can blend in.
Well, you know, that's what I was going to ask because, you know, like I'm always fascinated about the music in films because it's like, you know, it's not as easy as one would think, obviously. But it's just that, like, you know, the choices that you're, you know, going to make, like for when somebody's walking down the hall or when you're trying to build up that momentum of fear, you know, in a sequence and stuff. So, I mean, how's that for you, you know?
Well,
I mean, do you look at the image on a screen and then you got your piano next to you? What's going on?
Well, you know what? It's really funny. That's actually a really good question because I used to do it like that. I used to watch the screen and kind of like write as I go, which a lot of the old composers used to do. But in college, before I started writing the music for films, we just used to take CDs and things like that from like film scores we cut them up and chop them up and then make the scores out of them.
Right.
So a couple of years ago when I was working on a film that I was doing for someone where I couldn't get access to a cut, but they were like, we need music. So I tried to sort of drink in as much of what I thought they would need. And then when I got the cut, I chopped together everything that I had. And it was so much fun. It reminded me of like how we did it in college. So now, obviously, if I'm working on a movie, of course, yes, I watch the film, I understand the movie, I watch it a few times and I get it in my head. But then I will go away, write the music, record most of it, and then I will put it to the film rather than play it to the screen. I have done that. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me personally, it doesn't quite work out. Because usually the spontaneity of writing to the screen, sometimes I go back and go, I could have done that better, or maybe I should have done that.
Well, it's kind of like trying to fit it within the context of that sequence, isn't it?
It's tricky. And it's like looping, like when an actor has to do ADR and you have to watch yourself speak and talk over yourself. In the movies, I developed a little trick. I'm sure billions of people have done it. It's nothing special. But whenever we had to do any ADR or loop-in, I used to say, look, I'm not going to get you to stand and speak to the TV. Right. What you're going to do is you're going to listen to the line and you're going to try and mimic it. So you're not going to watch yourself at all. Okay, you're just going to listen. So if someone says, hey, stop that, you're going to go, hey, stop that.
Yeah.
And we'll do it bit by bit. And I remember the actor, a good friend of mine, actor I worked with for years called Paul Kelleher. He looked at me and he went, you know, this is not going to work. And I was like, just try it. And I tell you what, I've done it ever since like that. And it's unbelievable.
Wow.
Getting people to stand there and watch their mouths move and go, hey, how are you? You know, whatever. It's hard.
It's kind of mechanical, isn't it?
It's really difficult, even for the best. And some people are amazing at it. But for me personally, I thought there's no reason why this technique wouldn't work. And so that's how I would do it.
It is kind of true because like music and vocals are like that, aren't they? They kind of like just slip right into place, even if they are like 1 or 2 frames off.
Yes.
And everything. But I got to tell you, though, I mean, like, one of my first editing jobs was editing a reggae video. And, like, that was, oh, my God, the worst. It took me about a month just to get these guys to do one verse.
Oh.
Because they were like, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and, like, fantastic videos on YouTube. But still,
I will check it out.
It just, like, took forever.
I can imagine.
Because the specificity, like, when you're looking at the lips,
syllables,
and you just trying to get that match. It's just like
it's hard. It's hard. You know, when people say
but
when they're not
then
lip sync,
sometimes it magically just drops right in.
Yeah.
You know, 2 frames to the left, 6 frames to the right.
Yeah. That's it. There's a lot of shifting going on. There's always an awful lot of shit. Even sometimes you look at things and go, just push that over there a little bit and hopefully it'll be fine.
No, exactly. So then like, you ended up, working for an old friend of mine, Joshua Cleave.
Oh, yes.
Who was
The man, the myth.
he was successful with his first film, The Rage,
Yeah.
which I believe you saw.
Yes.
And everything, and then you reached out to say, hey, like if you're looking, for music for his second film, Rage
Yeah.
2, and everything, because this film ended up getting a lot of awards, and I think
Yeah.
you got one of them yourself for music,
Well,
did you?
Yeah, it was really cool. The movie really took off. I mean, what happened was I hadn't seen The Rage 1. I'd heard about it, but I saw that somebody was looking for, I think somebody tagged me in something like that about looking for zombies or something like that. And I reached out.
Always looking for zombies.
Always. You can never have enough of them.
No.
So I was like, how do if you need a composer, give me a shout, because I love zombie movies. I'm pretty sure I could handle it and all that kind of thing. And I said to him, when I used to do a lot of acting, I trained to be a stuntman, and it was like, I wish I still did some of that. So if you need a zombie to like throw himself around or get hit by a car or something nuts like that, give me a shout. I'd love to do it. So I wound up going in, helping out, doing some stunts, because I had a full beard. So then I did one scene, I cut the zombies with a full beard, then I shaved the beard, and I was able to be in the movie a lot.
Yeah.
So with all this in mind, that I'm just going to be doing the music, one day they had a problem with the actor, and they were like, would you stand in for the lead actor? Now you have to understand, this was a first person, almost like a game movie. So it's kind of like filmed on a GoPro.
Oh, first person point of view.
Yeah, sorry, point of view, yes. So you never actually see the lead actor. It's all through his eyes. So there was a way that we could trick things. So anyway, they said to me, obviously anyone can stand in for the lead actor. Would you mind just doing the lines to help everyone out and controlling the camera? And I said, yeah, sure. So at the end of the day, they said to me, how do you feel about replacing the lead actor? And I was like, okay. Sure, yeah, no problem at all. So I learned all the script that night, and then we went in, we finished the movie, and as I was doing the score and the sound design, I went in and I did all the ADR as well. So any like voices that were missing or whatever, I go in and finish them off. So it worked out pretty good. But it was a lot more work than I anticipated taking on. Which I'm not complaining. It was just so strange how involved I was by the end of the movie.
Well, the lead actor, the hero, then.
Well, it's not much of a hero. You have to watch the movie.
Well, what I'm just trying to say is that, like, as you said, it was from his point of view.
Yes. But there's some great performances in the film. I'm really happy with it, and everyone worked hard, and it's done really well. I'm really.
But did you get an award for?
I got best score, best sound design, best poster, and best acting ensemble. From different places, so it was nuts. Every day, my phone would go and be like, "These are yours."
That's a lot.
I was like, "I'm really, it was an amazing experience," and I credit it all to Josh, because Josh is a
at what
very
point,
talented guy.
I'm pretty sure it was before this, but at what point did you decide that, like, besides music, I want to actually write and direct my own film, leading us to Artifacts of Fear?
Well, I always kind of like, I don't know, when I started out and I wanted to be an actor, I never was that bothered about being a filmmaker. As I said, it was just one of those things. But I just got so into it. And I think it's more the storytelling, really. Because you can say like, oh, I love the editing or I love the filming or whatever. But really,
Control
it's the
freak
overall
factor, though, huh?
Well, you know what? It's funny you say that. I wouldn't ever class myself as a control freak. And starting out as a drummer a lot of time, you learn very quickly how to just kick back and let other people deal with things. But when I realized that I could handle these roles and that things would actually get done if I was doing it, that became addictive, because I thought, well, I can handle this. So it's really fun and I'm really enjoying it, So really, I made a couple of movies when I was younger. A couple of them got distributed, some of them not so much. One was a complete failure. One ended up
Only one?
Shut down. Oh, I said one was a complete failure.
Aha.
But the rest were just like half failures.
Bad mistakes. but I could not control.
No, exactly.
I have an excuse for every last mistake that you will find.
No, actually, there are some I have no excuse for whatsoever. But there were some other circumstances that always come into play, such as life. But yeah. So it had been a long time since I made a movie, and I thought, I've got to do something. I really, really, really want to do something. And to be honest with you, the only reason it was a anthology movie was because in my mind it was more psychologically easier to say, well, I'm directing 3 short films. I'm just going to put them together rather than I'm doing a 2-hour feature.
Yeah.
And it worked. The psychology worked because it was like, oh, well, on to the next short film. And it didn't feel like, when something's such a massive part of like a huge thread, it gets very daunting very quickly. Yeah. And you're like, oh, remember that scene? We've got to go back to that again. And wow, we're going to do the rest of that scene. And we filmed that scene like 3 years ago. It's nuts.
Somehow it's going to match.
Exactly. So you have to be very careful of that. But no, it was a great experience. I'm really happy with the movie, and it will hopefully be out on
keep all of
VOD and all that soon. How do you mean?
I don't know. Well, I remember I did a feature, and like it's like because I kept losing people. I started out with 1 Russian and ended up with 5.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Oh, we're going to have to bring in another bad guy in.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The thing that most people would answer that instantly would go, you pay them. But that is a complete lie. Yeah. Now, one thing you have to understand, people go, oh, well, people wouldn't mess you around if you paid them. I said, that is not true.
No.
There are people out there who are paid the earth and they still can't get it together. So I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just not buying that. If you volunteer your services to something for a greater cause or a deferred payment, if you say you're going to do it, you should still do it. You can't go, you know what? I'm not being paid, so I think today I just won't turn up. It just doesn't work like that. That's what slackers do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So really, I just picked people that I knew that I could trust. I was very kind to them. I made sure they were appreciated. And I gave them good material. That's the important thing. If you're getting someone to come up and play like a naked dead girl number 2, it's not so fun. It might be tough to have them when they're lying around all day. It's fun for the crew, but when you're a prop, it's hard to keep people, feeling like, yes, I can't wait to come and do this again, But no, you just got to pick the right people. That the vetting process is very important.
This is indeed true. And that leads me to my question of how many people do you need to make a film? What are your most important roles?
Well, a great question, because it goes back to that saying that it takes an entire town to make a film, which I love. Oh, man. I mean, look, I've always enjoyed working with the skeleton crew, but that's more so to limit error. Because obviously,
but that skeleton crew still has those important people.
Yes, absolutely. But the most important people for me are always the actors that are reliable, number 1. And number 2 would be some sort of assistant who is going to be technical, who understands the stuff, but also has an interest in what's going on.
Now, we talked about the assistant director.
Yeah. I would. I mean, I suppose there are a couple of people you could call assistant directors, and there were some people that I would call production assistants that were just really great guys and girls that were happy to help out, loved horror movies, they believed in the project. They would turn up, they wouldn't complain, but they were well looked after. It's getting the right people that believe in you and getting them to stand beside you rather than oppose you or try and question this or try and get what they can out of it for themselves.
Yeah.
If you go into a project trying to get everything for yourself out of it, usually you probably won't have a very good experience. And you'll piss a lot of people off. Excuse my language.
I totally dig you, Rusty. I mean, but see, the thing about it is, the first AD is tantamount to any production.
Sure.
But there's so many new directors that don't even know what a first AD is. There's so many that don't even know what a producer does. That's true. Producer's not your girlfriend, bro. Do you know what I mean?
I love that. Yes.
It's not your girlfriend.
Like the band manager when their mum turns up.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I hate that.
I mean, how many bands do that? But the thing about it is the fact that you need that level of support and professionalism
Yes.
on your right and left hand
Absolutely.
to make any project work.
Absolutely.
So really, like when you say a skeleton crew, I love skeleton crews, guerrilla filmmaking. But then like the deal is that you need to have that person that got your back.
That's true.
Do you feel me?
Absolutely, yeah.
And so many new directors don't understand that you need that extra
Team.
voice that is going to do that. That's going to handle your crew. That's going to handle your priority of time and all that.
Sure.
So like now my role when I started out was as the first AD. So when I'm working for new directors, I always give them 3 days.
Right.
The first day, they're thankful I'm there.
Right, of
Second
course.
day, they're kind of curious what the hell's going on, and the third day, they want to fight.
Yes.
You know, and
Yes.
I'm like, I'm only here to help you, bro.
Yeah.
I'm on.
Yeah.
If this was my film, I'd be doing something completely different.
Yeah, I know,
I
I
am
know,
doing
yes.
your film, right?
Exactly,
So
I
what
get
the
that a
hell's
lot.
going on here?
Yeah.
And stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Have you ever encountered that kind of like problem?
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been on a movie where the producer has been the director's wife or whatever. You know how it is.
Yes. Fortunately.
And that is always a massive red flag. And I always think, okay, there's been a couple that have done great, and we all know that back in the day, Robert Rodriguez is one of my favorite directors. His wife was a fantastic director. That's a different situation. But when you arrive to like a film set and it's someone's house, and like the wife is in the kitchen, sort of doing the washing and telling off the husband, I've seen all sorts as an indie guy, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you do get a clash, you know. There are some films I've worked on recently, which I won't name, where there was a couple of main sort of ADs and things like that hadn't worked on a lot of films, but were control freaks, and we clashed majorly because it was not helping people get the best work.
No, you got the military AD and you got the best friend AD.
Exactly.
You know, and there's two types always.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, you know, they both frustrate you in some
Yes.
way. But the thing about it is, it's like they both are there to make it happen.
It's true, yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. It's understanding everyone's role and being sympathetic is very important always, you know, and having humility as well, you know.
Oh, yeah, no,
But
definitely. Because
I think-
sometimes that sympathy could be like, oh, let's have a mutiny and shit. 'Cause
Yeah,
this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
yeah. Well, when it becomes sort of like Stanley Kubrick style, you know, I'm Spartacus, you know. It can get a little bit strange, you know, but then you have to be careful you work with, because there are true tyrants in the industry.
Yeah.
You go on a set and you go, God, why am I here?
No, exactly. Oh, I think that all the time.
Yeah.
So coming down to the end there, Rusty, I mean,
Sure.
like, obviously you had gotten the film bug. You're still traveling with Artifacts of
Yes,
Fear. I
yes.
think you said you're going to Sweden next. or
Yeah,
something
well,
like that.
yeah. In I think there's one in September coming up, and there's one in October. We've got Stockholm City Festival, and we've got now they're gonna hate me, and I've forgotten the name of it. But there's another amazing festival in Sweden that is going to be showing the movie. I think it's Boden. I
Yeah.
think it's Boden Film Festival. But yeah, so we got that. But then it comes out on VOD, Amazon Prime, Tubi, all those places. Hopefully.
How'd you get onto Amazon Prime? Because a lot of I heard a lot of like films made in Liverpool or here in the UK, they get onto Amazon Prime. It's not easy, is it? Or is it?
Or is it? It depends. You can go via Film Hub, where you basically pay and submit your movie, and they will shop it for you to Amazon, places like that. I've been really lucky, even with my not so great movies, I will hold my hand up and say in the past, that I've always got them distributed, because I just contract distributors directly with the label that seems appropriate, that has the same type of movies, the same type of budgets, and I say, how do you feel about distributing this? And I send them all the sell-in wrap and that. And what I will say, one thing I'll say real quickly is, one night after I finished the movie, I looked out the window and I thought, the dream right now would be if somebody took this film off my hands and released it before all of this film festival stuff, because I'm not a huge fan of all that kind of thing. And then by the time we have a crew screening, I can say, everyone, congratulations, you've done a great job, and the film is coming out. And a week later, that's exactly what happened. So I went directly to about 5 distributors. One was very interested, but they didn't get back to me in time. And the other one got back to me pretty much immediately and offered me a deal. And then, so they are putting it on
Well, like
Amazon.
a negative pickup deal, or?
It's like just like a percentage type thing. Just like as much as you can expect these days, which isn't a lot. But I will stress any of you budding filmmakers out there, the importance of get it done, get it out there. For a movie that was made with negative equity, I don't think I can expect it to be playing at every cinema and expect to get like 100 grand out of it. I'm just glad it's going to be out there.
Long as it's completed.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try your best to have as little flash frames as possible.
Absolutely.
And everything, and then deal with the problems that happen.
Yeah.
I remember I had a film that got screened in London, and it got, how shall we say, it got overshadowed by a giant elephant in Buckingham Palace.
Uh-oh.
So either way you look at it.
Hey, mate, you're not the only one. Don't worry about it.
That day. But either way you look at it is, you're working on a new film idea now, and like they wouldn't really want to say too much about it, but
Sure.
You did say it's going to be around found footage because most filmmakers love to do found footage films.
Yeah. Well,
Why do you think that is? Do you think they think it's easy because it's documental style, or?
I think there's many reasons. There is a percentage, the same reason when people get into bands and become musicians. I think they do think it's easy. But I think a lot of people resonate with it because, for me, when I look at found footage stuff, yes, there's a lot of really bad ones. But the good ones, there's just something in my brain that when I look at VHS, I'm like, this is real. And so then whenever I see anything that's slightly nasty, I'm just like, oh, that's horrible. And that the VHS and the worn footage and that just adds to it so much. In Artifacts, there's a couple of very small found footage shots. That's where I first dabbled. Because I thought the thing with Artifacts of Fear is I tried to give something for everyone. Yeah. So there's a period scene, there's found footage, there's 80s slasher, there's witches, there's ghosts, all sorts. So I tried to just have as much as I could. But when I was filming the found footage bits, I needed some extra gore. And I was messing around with the camera and I thought, what can I have? And there's some really graphic close-ups of gore that flash very quickly, but they are actually my leg with the blunt end of a knife going through my leg, like in the crease of my leg. And I filmed it up close on this VHS camera and it looks so gross. I was like, I don't even know if I want, even though it's just my leg, I'm literally just messing around with the camera to see what I can do. And I looked at it and I was like, I don't even know what I think that looks like. So I put it in the movie and the people who've seen it messaged me, go, mate, what is that? They were like, is that someone's? I'm like, no, it's not, but it's suggestive. But anyway, so it really captures my morbid curiosity. When I look at old footage and it just looks grubby and like you don't want to touch anything, you feel like you've done something wrong by watching it. That's what I like about found footage. And I don't think a lot of the found footage movies and things that have come out recently have really captured that because everything's very clean now. Everything's very HD. Looking at a Ring door camera is probably not that much different from watching a scene from an actual movie. So
no, exactly. And I mean, I think, to me, like I was saying, like I'm working on, getting my feet wet, dabbling back in there, doing a found footage film.
Yeah.
And, I felt like, what is the one thing that we never see in a found footage film? Because most found footage films, they always put the film together for us.
Don't give it away. They might nick your idea.
They're not going to nick my idea because I'm actually telling it right now.
Okay. All right.
No, I'm not. But
rookie mistake. Be careful. You never know who's watching, man.
Oh man, you're damn. I'm going to steal it. Russ, you saved me. Thank you. I was so excited to tell my idea, boy. Yeah.
I only want 10%.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't have anybody to do me score. So either way we look at it is, Rusty,
give me a call.
I want to thank you for coming on because
thanks
I said,
for having me.
I mean, I usually talking to businesses and it was good to just chat about film and creativity and all that.
Well, it's all business, man. It's all business at the end of the day.
You know what? It is true because you are of the business end of film because you actually get distributed. So I try. Well, Rusty, I said to you, man, there's no such thing as humility in this business. You do.
All right.
I'm gonna be Yoda. You do.
You're like, did you ever see that Red Dwarf? Do you ever see Red Dwarf?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, there was a hilarious episode where this character had these confidence and paranoia, and they were two characters. You're like
on me for not seeing Red Dwarf.
see what I mean? You got to check it out, man. But like, so the paranoia would be like, oh, you're not very good at this, and then the confident guy was always like, come on, man, big yourself up. That's what I'm gonna do.
Right.
I'm gonna hire you to walk next to me all the time and be like, come on, man.
I'm gonna hire you to walk next to me all the time in my ear. Yeah, right. I'll be the footprints of the sand. Of the
Why not?
Man.
Or we could just do it over FaceTime or something.
Oh yeah, that's true, and everything. But no. Again, this was great, there, Rusty, and I want to thank you for coming out. So pretty much, Rusty, you got a new album.
Indeed.
Not only is Devil's Work already out on all platforms, but he has a new album that he's working on that he's about to release. Devil's Work 2.
Maybe.
No.
Listen, give me a couple of months and I promise I'll come up with something
a better title than that.
It'll be Rusty Apper's. I don't know.
Work of the Devil, and
I like it.
Then he's got a new film that he's also working on. While Artifacts is still out there. So please, this is a gentleman you have to follow. How can people follow you, Rusty, on social media?
You can get me on Instagram /Rusty Apper, RUSTYAAPPE. I can't even spell my own name.
I know, it's like an apple.
RUSTYAPPER. I think I got that right.
Yeah,
and Facebook.com /Rusty Apper Music. Spelt the same. I'm not spelling it again.
Exactly. And so would they find the music and the film stuff? So
yeah, it's pretty... It's not the best way to do it. Many people have said to me, look, dude, you need to
separate.
Yes. But I sort of have done that. There is a Artifacts of Fear Instagram I'm working on. It'll all come together. But
especially since that's the one that's touring. That definitely needs its own thing.
I know. I'm getting on it. I mean, I'm very good at social media, but I'm also lazy. Producer.
But either way, what are you going to do? Am I right? I'm right.
That's true.
Either way you
He's
look
on holiday.
At it. Let's thank Rusty Apper for joining us here in the studio.
Thank you.
And everything like that. Let's thank Phil for slapping Chase for not watching Red Dwarf.
Very welcome.
Even though I'm wearing red. And
well, at least you know what you're doing tonight. You can go and watch it now.
I'm watching Red Dwarf.
Seriously. You got to watch it. But dude, you'd love it. Honestly, it's amazing.
I know the show.
Okay.
I know of the show. And everything.
You should be watching it.
Okay. Fine, okay. Slap.
He's been peer pressured into it now.
I've been peer pressured into it. You've been watching James Johnson Lynch and the Liverpool Community Podcast. And for now, we out of here to watch Red Dwarf.